Ala Kul Lake Trek, the blue pearl of Kyrgyzstan. Join me on my adventure. Okay, we're just having breakfast, 6 a.m. We're starting the Ala Kul Lake Trek today. We're eating borscht, I think, like the beet soup. It's my first time trying it. And then we're gonna go to Snore Leopard to meet up with our friends at 7:30 to take a taxi to the trailhead. When you arrive in Karakol, I would recommend visiting Duet Coffee Shop. They have a sign-up board and lots of information about the Ala Kul Lake Trek, and this is how we were able to find a group of people to split a 4x4 to the park entrance. I highly recommend this option because you'll save about 4 hours of walking, about 15 kilometers just to get to Bridge 2 to start your trek. You don't want to waste your energy getting to the trailhead because let me tell you, it is a tough one. Our goal for the day was to make it to Sirota camp. We just got dropped off at the first or second bridge, I'm not sure. Second bridge, starting our trail. It is very muddy because it's been raining for the past few days, but excited to start the trek. We paid 800 Kyrgyz som each, and this included the car and entrance fee into the national park. Make sure you keep your receipt until the very end of the hike because they can check and make you pay again. It is extremely muddy because of the rain, but the views are so pretty! I feel like I'm in Nepal again. If there's one piece of advice I could give for you for this hike, it would be to pack as light as you possibly can. It is a really tough one, so you want to reduce your weight as much as possible. The easiest way to do this is to stay at the yurt camps instead of bringing your own tent. You pay a little bit more, but you're saved the hassle of carrying your own tent, sleeping bags, and even food. And that is worth every single penny for me. To cut down on costs, we brought our own snacks and our own lunch for the first day, which were piroshkis that we got at the supermarket. Price of this trek has increased a lot over the past years with increasing popularity, especially the price of the yurt camps, but we wanted to make it as affordable as possible as budget backpackers, and we were able to make it work. Now you might be wondering about water. There are lots of streams along the way where you can fill up your water bottle. I would just recommend bringing filtration tablets or some kind of filtration system like I did, and bring as much water with you in the beginning as you can. I brought about 2 liters. Once you arrive at the yurt camps, they should provide you with unlimited tea if you're staying with them, and just make sure that you fill up your water bottle before you go to bed so that you're ready for the next morning. Another important thing is that you need to have great waterproof footwear. My foot actually fell into this river while we were crossing because I couldn't focus on filming at the same time, but I was fine because my shoes were Gore-Tex and waterproof. If you're lucky, you might run into some surprises on the way. We were so fortunate to see a bunch of horses walk out of the woods, and I mean there were at least 20 or 30. They just kept coming out to cross the river, and then we watched them play in the field together. It was something out of a movie. We're almost finished the hike, day 1. We're doing a steep ascent right now, which is why we're a little bit out of breath. But we have just, I think, under an hour until we get there. It's so beautiful. There's no one here, just the people that we came with. And the nature really is breathtaking. The path is mostly flat the first day, and then at the end there is a pretty steep ascent, but it's very manageable because it's over a short period of time. They do offer horse treks as an alternative if you're willing to pay the money. Overall, the first day was very enjoyable. The views were stunning, and it really wasn't that physically demanding. We showed up at Sirota camp without a reservation and found a place to stay. We made it just in the nick of time. We're staying at Alakool yurt camp, and that's our yurt just back there. And we have our little piroshkis, and they gave us a hot cup of tea, which I'm so excited about. And it just started to rain, so it's perfect timing. It's about 1 o'clock and started around 8. Took us about 4.5 hours-ish, I would say. The end is the most brutal part because it's all uphill, but we did it. Most people book their yurt camp in advance, and it'll cost you about 4,200 som, and this includes dinner and breakfast. We took the risk of not booking and were able to negotiate a lower price. We're in our yurt now. We were able to negotiate a good price, and it's just the 2 of us for now, but 5 people can fit inside of the yurt. It's really cute, homey. You can see the ceiling here. Like there's a little light. It's already starting to get cold, but luckily we have sleeping bags and blankets because we didn't bring any. I don't know, I just think it makes more sense to stay in the yurt so you don't have to carry all the stuff. And this is what the outside looks like. That's where the door is. There's a little garbage, and yeah, it's nice. Since we had gotten there so early in the day, we had an ample amount of time to rest, relax, and enjoy the beautiful views and prepare for the grueling day ahead. We were a little too optimistic about day 2 and had no idea what was coming for us.
We are in our yurt. It's our first night. We're the only people staying at this camp. So we have the whole yurt to ourselves and all the other yurts are empty. It's cold, but we took the sleeping bag and all the blankets because there's only 2 of us in here instead of 5. And we're really hoping that there's gonna be good weather tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's not gonna be any rain. We have to hike like 9.5 hours. So we're gonna start really early.
15 kilometers.
Yeah, and it's gonna be really great. It's gonna be all uphill in the beginning and then super steep descent. And we have no hiking pole.
No. So we're gonna find sticks.
Really good sticks.
The best
The
sticks.
best sticks. Good night.
It's 6:20. We just finished breakfast. And it was really cold last night. I think it's cold now. Maybe you can't see on camera. We're leaving for our hike soon. It's supposed to be a super long day. I'm just gonna take it very slow, one step at a time. Hope we get there before dark, but I know we will.
We're walking towards the lake. It's been about an hour, and I think we have about an hour left. And everyone is being super dramatic, but so far it's been okay. This next part I think is going to be a little steep, but we've been doing really good so far, I think. Yeah!
The path from Sirota camp looked quite daunting and steep and had a 700-meter elevation gain.
We're doing pretty good. We're almost at 4,000 meters. No signs of altitude sickness because we're taking it slow. And yeah, it's going good.
We were so happy to have arrived at the lake and I think we made pretty good time, and oh my gosh, the pictures do not lie, the lake was really as blue as I had seen online.
We've made it to the lake. It's super beautiful. Look how blue it is. I can't believe it. The last push was tough, but definitely not the hardest mountain that we've climbed. It's so nice and blue. I'm obsessed. It's just us and 4 other people, and then there's some people camping down there. But it was so worth it. I recommend you go early. We're gonna stay here for a little bit, have like a snack, and then we're going to continue, but totally worth it for this view.
We ate our apples and enjoyed the bright blue turquoise colors of the water. I wanted to swim in it so badly, but because it's glacial water, it's around 0 degrees, maybe a little bit warmer in the summer, but too cold for me. Now, we made a very grave mistake in following Maps.me, which took us all the way to the bottom to the lake and we had to climb back.
We just finished the Ala Kul Pass. It was really tough because we messed up and we went all the way down to the lake, and then from the bottom of the lake we had to climb all the way up. It was so exhausting. My feet hurt.
My feet hurt.
But we made it to the top. We just had our really dry sandwich of a lunch. Literally, hers is just bread and cheese. Stale bread and cheese. Mine was stale bread and salami. And we climbed this whole way. All the way from the bottom of that lake and then up this pathway. Doesn't look that difficult, but I promise you, we were dying the whole way. But now, we have a very steep descent for the next 4 hours and 20 minutes. Hopefully it's easier than the ascent. We're about to climb down here. Super steep, a lot of decline. I'm scared just standing here. I don't want to fall back and die. Yeah, wish us luck. It looks really beautiful. It looks like it's not even real. Very nice. But I'm scared.
The descent was brutal without poles, and it was the first time in my life where I actually sat down on my butt and slid down, but it was the safest way.
Finished descending that crazy path. No, that's a waterfall.
That one over there.
This path over here, that was the most difficult descent I've ever done in my entire life. We were both on our butts and we were just sliding down because it was just like 90-degree vertical, all gravel, all rocky. My knees are shaky.
So are my arms.
Everything is shaky, but we made it down. Now we have another 3.5 hours to camp. Hopefully it's flat and easy on our knees, and then we can take a nice bath in the hot spring.
I cannot recommend poles enough for this trek. Just for the descent alone, it would have saved us a lot, I think. I actually ended up bruising my toenail and it fell off, which didn't even happen when I trekked for 13 days in Nepal. Another thing to mention is that there's a yurt camp right here when you descend, so you can stay one more night if it's within your budget, and you can also decide to take horses.
The view behind us is absolutely incredible. There's like some wild horses over there. I don't know if you can see. There. Anyways, we're gonna try and walk to the horses and see if we can get some pictures, but this is so stunning. Look at these mountains.
If you are feeling tired at this point, I think it's best to stay at the yurt camp or ride a horse because you still have quite a distance to go. A few people in our group opted to take the horse because they were so tired and couldn't walk anymore. I kind of wish I had to.
We just came from here. It's so green. There's so many cows and horses. We're almost there. A few more hours and I'm loving it. We've only seen like 2 other people It really feels like our own personal nature paradise. I have the mountains behind me here, and there's like a lake here. Not a lake, but like a pond that's like reflecting the mountain. It looks so cool.
We were still in high spirits at this point because we thought that we were really close and it was a nice, beautiful open landscape with so many animals.
We're starting our very gradual descent.
Okay, as long as it's easy on the knees.
So far it looks okay.
We thought the worst was behind us, but there would be a glacial river crossing waiting for us up ahead. It almost broke us.
We're so traumatized right now. It's near the end of the hike. Our feet are killing us, and then we see this lake that we need to cross, this river, and you have to go in bare feet because there's no way to go across without taking off your shoes. The water's frozen. I could barely make it, but luckily somebody was kind enough to give me their pole and support me across because it was just too much.
We were really slowing down at this point. The glacial river crossing in bare feet wasn't something that we had planned, and our feet were killing us. We were trying to walk as fast as we could, but we couldn't really move that quickly. I felt like I kept saying we were almost there, but all these challenges kept coming our way.
Are you having a good time?
Am I having a good time?
Yeah.
So as if we hadn't already suffered enough, our final quest was the most difficult and demanding. The earth literally tried to swallow us whole because the grass was just a giant patch of mud that was kind of like quicksand, and that was the only route to take. Christina actually lost her shoe and my foot got sucked in as well and got filled with mud. It was the first hike where I didn't think I would make it.
Okay guys, we made it. That was the most difficult hike in my life. There was this patch where it was just like all mud, and we're running through the mud and we're jumping across rocks, and we get to the other side and I look at Christina and she's literally in her socks and her shoe was left behind in the mud. So I had to fish her shoe out of the mud, and then later my shoe got stuck in the mud. Well, just my pants at least. My shoe and my pants are very, very muddy, and we just feel very gross. And we found out that we still have like over 6 hours of hiking tomorrow, so we're trying to keep in high spirits. Luckily I was able to rinse my shoe with the hose here, but it's still mud inside, and I'm throwing away these socks right away. Now that being said, this is like the most beautiful view ever, but it's so funny because like I just went through like the most difficult thing in my life. So I'm trying to stay positive, but that was really tough. So she has to go in her socks because her shoes are unfortunately ruined. Oh my god. Poor girl. We feel for you. Dinner time.
Pancakes
Wow. Look at this.
We were so happy to finally sit down after over 12 hours of hiking to a nice, hot, fresh cooked meal. The food at these camps are a lot more delicious because the roads are closer so they can get food more easily. I really loved how they made the eggs into a heart shape. And again, this yurt we didn't book in advance, and we were able to negotiate 1,800 som for breakfast and dinner. The third and final day, we were both so exhausted. I hadn't been filming as much because I really just didn't have the energy anymore. My biggest focus was just to get back. Luckily, the path was mostly flat and there were no surprises or obstacles to get in our way that day. We were so tired we didn't even end up going in the hot springs when we did finish the hike. This is probably one of the most beautiful hikes that I've done, and I do recommend it, but I would say that it is also one of the most difficult hikes that I've done, so just be aware of that. I would not recommend doing Ala Kul Lake trek as a day trip. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, would you attempt the Ala Kul Lake trip?